Hey developers, so today we're going to talk about how you create your Vue apps. What are some of the best practices and what styles should you use when creating a Vue app? And then we're going to look at Vue 3 and we're going to take a look at the linting rules and the styles that you should be using for your Vue 3 apps. So make sure you stay all the way to the end and you can learn all about it. Hey, and if you don't know, my name is Eric. I'm a full stack software developer. I'm also the author of a few books. I'm also just a big fan of Vue.js, React, Angular. If you guys are familiar with any of those frameworks or libraries and you like them, make sure you click that like button and smash the subscribe button, or maybe do them in reverse. Smash the like button and click the subscribe button. Oh, either way, you get it. Just make sure you click one of those buttons and also leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about styles in Vue. Have you in the past changed your style settings in your Vue app, or do you just ignore it? Let me know. Hey, and let's have a quick word from our sponsor for this video. I just want to take a moment and thank our sponsor, .tech Domains. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably love domain names and you love to buy ones that are short and relevant, but also most importantly, available. And that's what's really cool about .tech Domains. There's a ton of really cool domains available, and the .tech domain is broad enough that you can kind of understand that this is technology related as well. A lot of really cool sites are using .tech domains like Hollywood.tech, Viacom.tech, even personal sites like AustinEvans.tech. So if you guys are interested and you want to search for a really cool domain name, go to go.tech/Erik and then search for your domain name. If you end up buying it, you actually get up to 80% off on 1 year and 5 year domains. So go to go.tech/Erik and go ahead and pick up that domain name. Thanks. Okay, thank you guys for sticking around. I really appreciate it. All right, so this is the style guide for Vue.js. So there is a particular way that you should create Vue apps, if you didn't know that already. And by ignoring this, you are doing a disservice to yourself. Now, don't worry, you don't have to memorize this style guide or how you should create the styles and your look and feel of your Vue apps, because Vue has a built-in feature with ESLint that does this for you and reminds you about these rules. So before we dive into these kind of really boring style guide rules, let's see what a Vue app shows us today from scratch. So I'm going to open up my handy dandy VS Code and we're going to create a new app right now. So we already have NPM installed. If you don't know already, to get started, you can install NPM. And to do that, you would want to install Node. You can install the latest version Node or Yarn. Just go to the websites. Then after you have Node installed, you do an npm install tacg at vue/CLI. That'll install Vue CLI. But we already have both of those installed. So now we're going to do vue create style yt. And this is going to create a new folder called style. Now, I already was playing around earlier and I created a default. Actually, no, I did not create a default, but I should be able to manually select features. And I'm going to select router. And this is the very important part of here, this linter/formatter. So this will actually add in linting capabilities into our Vue app so we can make sure we are following the correct, kind of the tried and true ways of creating Vue apps. And so we click enter there. No. Now this is kind of interesting. Depending on how you like your styles, there are certain ways people like their apps. Some people like trailing commas. Some people don't like trailing commas. Some people like semicolons. Some people don't like semicolons. Some people like 80 width character lines. Some people like 120 character width lines. There are tools like Prettier, Beautify, and there's standards that you can pick when you create your app. We're going to assume that you want to follow the best practices of Vue, and we're going to just use the Prettier, which uses the Prettier standards. So we're going to do Prettier, lint on save, dedicate config files, no. And so this will just take a moment and we'll install our app. Okay, so here is our app that we just created. And so let's take a look at what it looks like out of the box. So as of this recording, this is what you get out of a box on Vue CLI. So we get Vue version 2.6.11. Now, one thing to keep in mind, we're looking at ESLint plugin-vue. We're using 6.2.2. And you see that it installed some plugins for Prettier. and some configs. But if you want to kind of deep dive into this more, we'll look at this ESLint RC file. Now this is the file where we're going to set rules if we want to. We can actually override rules, but we can also change the way we do our linting inside our app. So you can see here it sets it up with plugin-vue Essential to start off with. Now what does that mean? So if we go to our handy dandy style guide that I was mentioning before, we can kind of take a look at the rules. And in fact, what I would do is there is the GitHub repository for ESLint plugin. You can look at the rules for 6.22 and you can see what it gives you. So Essential is plugin Vue Essential, and so it gives you things like this: no parsing error, no side effects computer properties, no template keys. Well, what are these? So we can either look them up in this actual official style guide to figure out what some of these things are, but I think this one is a little bit more complete. I only see like 5 or 6 here, but the actual this one, this is everything you get with plugin Vue Essential, which comes when you install Vue out of the box with Vue CLI. So let's say here, like require v for key. So this is telling us that we need to add in this key item, but if we don't have a key, it gives us an error. Another really simple one is I think vbind. Yeah, like vbind, you actually need to have it equal something. You can't just have vbind by itself. So let's take a look to see if that works. So this is the straight out of the Vue app. But if I, let's say, I don't know, I have this image tag here, and I just type in vbind and save it, and you look at my terminal down here, there's a big error. It says unexpected token, syntax error, unexpected token, doesn't understand it. Well, you don't see any errors here though, so how do we make it so our VS Code could actually see the errors that we have using our linter? But that's pretty easy. We need to go here to our extensions, and we're going to look up the ESLint extension. And right now I have it, but I haven't disabled, but I would just normally click install here, but I'm going to go ahead and enable it for the workspace. And then one other thing I want to do is I'm going to install Prettier. So I'm going to install this extension. Once again, I'm going to enable it for the workspace, so it does it there too. Cool. So now, if I go back and close this, now you can see I have a little red arrow, a little red underline that says dynamically binds one or more attributes. vbind directive requires an attribute value ESLint valid vbind. So now the linting is working, and I can go ahead and save it and fix it, and I get no errors, which is really cool. You can then also, if I wanted to, I could like turn this rule off, but I don't think I would ever want to do that. But you can, and you would just have to add that to the ESLint file. So it kind of gives you some really common ones that you don't want to forget. So the style guide also mentions, like in this essentials, you get there basically rules to prevent errors, so learn and abide by them at all costs. Exceptions may exist, but you should be very rare and only made by part with expert knowledge of Vue and JavaScript. So if you're an expert, then you can override these rules. And we just talked about, here's like component data, v4. Let's see, in component data, when using the data property in a component, the value must be a function that returns an object. So this kind of the bad way to do it is just do the colon here. So if I go back to my data object, add a data object here, and I say blah, Erik, I get a big red squiggly line underneath that says I'm violating the Vue no shared component data. And if I save it, it actually went ahead and fixed it for me automatically because of my linter. But normally if it would have saved there, then it would have given me an error in the terminal as well. So that's the first essential thing. So I like to think about these ESLint rules almost as if the Vue core team members are whispering in your ear and saying, hey, make sure you actually use a key with your v4. Or hey, make sure you use a data object that returns something. It's like very common sense things. But did you know that there's essential, but there's also strongly recommended? So it defaults to essential, but what happens if we want to do strongly recommended? So let's add that in instead. So all we need to do is we'll copy the strongly recommended, we'll go to our ESLint file, and instead of having plugin Vue Essential, we're going to have this, we're going to delete here. We're going to have plugin Strongly Recommended. And we might have to actually stop and restart. I'll just do that real quickly. So now we have a whole bunch of other Strongly Recommended. And the style guide says, Strongly Recommended, these rules have been found to improve readability and or developer experience in most projects. Your code will still run if you violate them, but violations should be rare and well justified. So that's kind of neat. Like component files. Whenever a build system available to concatenate files, each component should have its own file. So obviously if you try to do something crazy and put multiple components in one file, it'll give you errors. Self-closing components. In single file components, string templates, components that self-close communicate that they have no content but are meant to have no content. It's the difference between a blank page in the book and one labeled. The page intentionally blank. So components with no content should be self-closing in single file components, string templates. So it's kind of like some common scenarios that you should do. Prop name casing, like instead of doing this prop name should always use camel case during declaration, but kebab case in templates. So like this greeting text. I don't know. So right now, if we go to the home, we do have this message here. Let's see here. This home has a hello world, and then we have a message here. But if we were to, it's saying here that I guess we could, prop names should always use camel case using declaration, but kebab case in templates. Okay, so when we add in here, so if we put like message Erik, then in the hello world component right here, in our props, you see we don't, if we took message Erik and we leave it a string, requires default value to be set. That's another thing here. So now since we've used this new strongly recommended, we can't just declare it like this. So we actually have to declare our props as objects, and then we have to put in the type like we had before. This was a type string. So in our new way, we have to do a type string and then a default, I don't know, empty string, and that works for this message. And now we'll do message Erik, and that's still working. Let's see here. I have hello world there. Oops. Yep, still working at localhost 8080. If I change this message here to welcome to app 123. Oh, and we change this to message Erik. Oops, actually it should be camel case or kebab case. Actually, that'd be camel case right there. So you can see welcome to your Vue.js app 123. But if we try to, I guess, try to put this in kebab case here, you'll get an error. It doesn't understand it. This has to be in this kebab case here. And if we go back to this app view, or I guess it'd be this home view, and we try to put it message Erik like this, then we get a green squiggly line that says attribute message must be hyphenated. So you can see rules like that definitely make things a little bit better. Now there is one more level. If you want to go to the, instead of using this Vue Essential Strongly Recommended, there is just Recommended, where multiple equally good options exist. An arbitrary choice can be made to ensure consistency. So this one has things like, and you could see here too, this uncategorized here, recommended, like attribute orders. So it wants your data there, it enforces orders of how things are supposed to be rendered. So the definitions, list rendering, conditionals, globals, uniques, two-way data binding, other directives. So inside your divs, you shouldn't be like putting your VIF at the bottom above like events. So it actually gives you like an order that you should put things in, which is actually pretty handy, especially when you get into more complicated apps. So that's pretty neat. So we can add that in here. So we go plugin Vue Recommended. We just go back to the ESLint RC file, and I'll delete it there. So now this is like the highest level, and it also includes all the lower level ones too. It kind of adds on to each other. So it has all the other stuff that was in there before. So like I can't go back here and change this to message Erik. It's still going to give me the warning about attribute hyphenation. So now I'm at the highest level, and it's going to give me a whole bunch of warnings on anything I do. So I think I can even, if I move this name down here, now I get this error that the name property should be above the components property. So that's part of the order in components, which if you look at this here, order in components is part of the recommended. So in top of just having attributes in a certain order, you have to actually put your components in certain orders, which makes a lot of sense. So that's the top level. So I would highly recommend, if you're starting off with a Vue, try setting it to the plugin Vue Recommended. So that way you have the highest level, and you are going to get errors in your app whenever you do things like this, and it'll help you write better Vue apps. It just makes sense. It probably should be a default to it, but it's not. Now I did mention Vue 3, so let's go ahead and move to that. So I have this, very simple Vue 2 app, but let's say I want to add in Vue 3. So right now, as of this recording, Vue 3 is in beta, but we can try it out in our app by doing Vue add Vue next, which is like a plugin. It's an experimental plugin that will allow you to use Vue 3 in your Vue 2 apps. There's a few ways we could do this. We could also do this through the composition API plugin, but we're going to use this Vue next plugin and see if we can get it working. Okay, cool. So it ended up running. I can go ahead and run it again. And you can see here, if you look at the package.json, we have a few updates. So now we are running Vue 3.0 beta 1, which is, as of this recording, that's the latest one. It also adds in the newest version of the router, which actually supports TypeScript. Maybe that's a different video. I'll show you guys a little bit about that. But it also installs the ESLint plugin-vue 7 alpha 0. Now 7 alpha 0, if you look at, this is the Vue next, but if you look at the ESLint plugin, and you look at here, the available rules, you see this is documentation for 7.0 alpha 5. So there's an alpha 5 out, but the alpha version support Vue 3, which you might be thinking, oh, wow, that's cool. What kind of things are you going to get with the ESLinter for Vue 3 out of the box? Well, first off, they have all these deprecation warnings. So this would be behoove you that once you move to a Vue 3 app, make sure you have this alpha version of the Vue plugin installed as of this recording, or make sure you at least have 7 version installed, and then change your plugin to plugin Vue 3 Essential, or through Vue 3 Strongly Recommended, or Vue 3 Recommended. So let's change it to Vue 3 Recommended. So that should be the highest. Let's see if it's already changed. Okay, it already put Vue 3 Recommended. It already did it for us, which is perfect. So now we should be able to get some errors and see what deprecations is. So one of the problems is, let's see here for the Vue 3. So yeah, you can use all these different deprecations to figure out how to upgrade your Vue 2 app to Vue 3, which is pretty interesting. Let's say you're adding this $listeners, which is something that you shouldn't be using the deprecated $listeners anymore in Vue 3. So if I come here, oh, by the way, I'm getting some errors now on my Vue components tag order. So if we look at Vue components tag order, which is this one, I think it's order. This tag order, tags over order right here. It said that that by default you have to put the script tag at the top, then the template, then the styles, which is kind of interesting. But let's say we don't like that and we still want the template at the top. We can actually go to the options here and change that. So let me say this. If I go to this options here and I go back to my ESLint rules, I can go into the rules here and I can just make a new line, copy this in here, and instead of having script template style, I'm going to do template script style. And by the way, some of these changes you have to restart the browser or restart the server. So now it should be happy with template script style. If I go back to home, okay, so I'm not getting any errors here. Okay, so down here I'm not getting any errors. Good. So I fixed that error. I do have, let me stop this server here, and let's see if I get any errors in here. Okay, it started with no errors. Good. So it looks like I'm good. But what happens if I add this $listeners? Let's say do v-on $listeners. Well, right away I get a little squiggly underline that says listeners is deprecated. If I save it, it actually it saved it and it took it out, which is kind of nice. It took it out for me. Actually, excuse me, it moved it to the end. But it looks like right here we still have the error, listeners is deprecated. So I can, if I delete that, save it, now it's building, now I have no more errors. You see how powerful this is, that with Prettier and with this ESLint rules, you can see while you're coding if you're making mistakes, you can fix it. And then you can also always override any of the rules or turn them all off by just putting them inside the rules in this ESLint file. So I hope that was really helpful for you guys. Maybe in another video we'll go over every deprecation that the ESLint rules show us for version 3, because that might be interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Take care.